Well, hello and welcome. It's time now for Matchpoint, the news show here on CCTV Africa that brings you sports news, action, highlights and features from an African perspective. I'm Mahe Mutua. Here's what's coming up in tonight's show. Aiming high, South Africa's women's sevens team optimistic as they prepare to fight for a World Series spot. Côte d'Ivoire coach names his squad for the upcoming Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers against Sierra Leone and Cameroon.
For me.
And boxer Heki Budler ready to defend his 2 belts in Monte Carlo. Welcome to Matchpoint. Well, there's an important date coming up for both the Kenya and South Africa Rugby Sevens teams. The qualifying round for the Women's Rugby Sevens Series takes place in Hong Kong next month. Our reporter Dan Williams caught up with the South Africa team, who are confident that they can take one of the 4 spots on offer, which also double up as Olympic qualifiers.
Pursuing a place at the top table of women's sevens rugby, South Africa will join 11 other teams in Hong Kong next month, all of them chasing the 4 spots on offer to join the Women's Sevens Series. A place in the semi-finals would be enough to earn that right, and South Africa are determined to take their chance.
The expectations are quite high. We set high standards as a team, and I think to qualify for the World Series next year, and it can be done with France in our pool will be our first game, and that will set the tone for the tournament. And then there's Mexico and China. We never played them this season, but I think we can get the better of them if we play them.
The resources provided to the team are considerable and includes input from Springbok coaches. Around half of the side is now centrally contracted, allowing those players the chance to devote their focus full time. And success in Hong Kong would provide a further boost to the profile of the women's game in South Africa.
I think women's rugby will be on the map again for South Africa if we're getting into the circuit. So our goal is to be in the top 4, getting into the circuit and being played on the series again.
There is a further motivation for the team to finish in the top 4 in Hong Kong, as it would also guarantee automatic qualification for the Rio Olympics, allowing the side more time to focus on the ultimate goal.
We really have the eye on going for gold. That would be a huge achievement for women's rugby. I think then things will get better for us and we can take it to the next level.
The team is currently training 3 times a day. Many of the players here disappointed during the recent Women's 15s World Cup, so there is a determination to put that right here. But if South Africa wants to truly compete on the world stage, more talent needs to be discovered and nurtured.
Yeah, I think a broader base of players, that's the right idea that we want. We want a squad of, say, at least 20 players, and then you can have a squad of 15 contracted. That we started now with signing players for short term and for long term. But I think if we can have more contracted players and more players to look after and train like on a daily basis, that will help us a lot.
This is not just a team looking to qualify for the World Sevens Series. This is a group looking to take a giant stride forward for the women's game in South Africa. Dan Williams, CCTV, Stellenbosch, South Africa.
All right, well, now for more on that story, we go live to Johannesburg, where our reporter Dan Williams joins us. Dan, obviously, the South African women's sevens team will go to Hong Kong confident of progressing, getting one of the 4 slots on offer. But tell us how exactly the inclusion of the sport in the Olympics has helped the game there in South Africa.
Yes, Olympic recognition for the women's sevens game is it's really given a huge boost to the game, as you can imagine, both here in South Africa and across the rest of the rugby playing world. Of course, the key thing there is, of course, the funding. It means, as I said in that report, it just allows at least some of the players to be on central contracts, allows them to train full time, and we saw the resources as well that they've got there. That sevens base place where there's also a men's team train as well. We saw the expert France and England and New Zealand and to compete on a level playing field. But what we can see at least is that they are utilising those resources to the best of their ability.
Dan, you touched on the training methods of the women's team there in Stellenbosch in that report, but in what other ways is the team preparing for what will be a grueling qualification campaign?
Yes, we had hoped to actually film the SA Women's Sevens team taking on their male counterparts. Now, of course, the men just fresh from that Commonwealth gold medal winning performance in Glasgow just a few weeks back. It didn't happen, unfortunately, then, but we are told it will happen at some stage, and you can just, it once again, I think, underlines just how serious now SA Rugby and South Africa are taking the Women's Sevens game. It also shows, if nothing else, just how they're trying to think in slightly different ways, that even if they don't quite have the player base of some of the other countries, they are at least trying to come up with unique ways of improving the women's game. And the benefits to the women are obviously huge, even if the men aren't going at 100% during those sessions. The very fact that they'd be able to take on the men and then take that towards those what is a crucial date in those World Series qualifiers, it just means they take the field and they'll have no fear at all. So once again, I think just showing just the unique way that the women's game is trying to progress.
Finally, Dan, you did mention the men's team there. How confident must they be following that Commonwealth Games success?
Yes, of course. Clinching that gold medal in Glasgow a few weeks back has given the men's team a huge amount of confidence ahead of the World Series, which gets underway again in October. Now, last time round, they finished, of course, second behind New Zealand. Of course, they haven't won it since 2009, which was under Paul True, but they showed a certain amount of consistency last year. They finished in the finals 4 times. They won 2 of the tournaments, and yet they just need to find that extra level of consistency again. It's an important year coming up, of course, because the top 4 in that World Series Sevens finish. If they finish in the top 4, that guarantees automatic qualification for Rio 2016. So all of those things make it very important for South Africa to have another good season, as of course Kenya will also be hoping so. But South Africa will be aiming above that, of course. They'll be aiming for that title under the coach Neil Powell, who will be desperate to replicate, if you like, what Paul True managed just a few years ago.
All right, Dan, thanks for joining us tonight. Dan Williams joining us live from Johannesburg, speaking to us about the preparations for the men and women's South Africa Sevens teams. Moving on, there's an important date coming up for both the Kenya and South Africa Rugby Sevens teams. The qualifying round for the Women's Rugby Sevens series takes place in Hong Kong next month. Our reporter Dan Williams once again caught up with the South Africa team and gave us that story. Well, moving on, Kenya has rolled to a points advantage after the first day of the East Africa Golf Challenge, easily winning in the singles at the Entebbe Golf Course. The annual competition attracted 6 nations, with Ethiopia the newest member of the championship. And they did not get off to a good start, claiming only 2 points from today's round of play. It was the defending champions Kenya that enjoyed a fine start, winning 6 and halving of 1 of their 8 matches. Kenya's Nelson Simwa then halved with Uganda's Peter Sendaula to give both sides half a point. Join Karichu overcame an early deficit to defeat Uganda's Robert Oruba 1-up. Tanzania was the only side to defeat Kenya today. They are currently tied for 3rd place with Rwanda. Kenya, who have won the regional title 3 times in the last 4 years, will be looking to extend their lead into Saturday's round of play.
Like us defending champions, for sure I'm telling you, we'll bring this thing home. Tomorrow we have a tough match morning and afternoon, which is one to maybe maximum point of 12 out of 16.
Well, staying in Uganda, 6 East African countries have converged in Uganda for the East Africa Golf Challenge. The championship attracts the region's best amateur golfers. Many harbor hopes of joining the professional ranks and possibly even playing on a bigger stage. We spoke to Uganda's Philip Kasozi, the 2012 Uganda Open champion and also captain of the Uganda amateur golf team.
My name is Philip Kasozi. I'm handicap +2, member of Uganda Golf Club. I love playing golf. Uganda Golf Club came up with the youth program. Apparently that time I was on campus. They are recruiting youth golfers. I passed through that program. Then later on I joined as a full member when I made 25. The beauty about joining golf, you have to first be interested as a sportsman or be introduced to the game. So from there, you get affiliated with the environment first. The majority of the people who play golf in this country are middle-aged, so the exercise is enough for them, walking 18 holes. But for a young person like me, you need to do extra. You need to get out, go to the gym, go to do road work and other things so that you're in shape. And once you're in shape, your head is in shape and your mind, the balls will go where you want them to go. For golf, being an amateur, the next step is being a professional. So all my colleagues want to be professionals. No one wants to be behind. So the issue of being an amateur golfer, everyone is always looking to moving a step ahead. We never used to have a professionals category in Uganda. I think there are over 30 now. That is a good sign that the sport is growing. So those who sieve through the amateur ranks, get up there. Those who can get sponsors, start playing in the region. Kenya, some go to Dubai, others go to South Africa, others go to Asia. So the sport is growing. I would love to play in Augusta, what's called the Masters. Every golfer would love to play that course, I'm sure. That's the green jacket, that would be a dream come true.
All right, let's go to a quick break now, but coming right up. Côte d'Ivoire coach Hervé Renard names his squad for the upcoming Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers against Sierra Leone and Cameroon.
Terrific dunk right there.
Welcome back. Well, Côte d'Ivoire coach Hervé Renard on Thursday published his roster for the upcoming Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers against Sierra Leone and Cameroon set for early September. The Frenchman, who succeeded Sabri Lamouche last month, included 4 home-based players in his 26-man squad, something none of his predecessors ever tried in an official match. Aside from striker Didier Drogba, who obviously has retired from international duty, defender Didier Zokora and Everton striker Lassina Traoré, all the members of the 2014 World Cup squad figure in the list. The Elephants will begin their 2015 AFCON group stage qualifying against Sierra Leone on the 6th of September in Abidjan, but the Ivorian government is yet to authorize a venue for the encounter following the outbreak of the Ebola virus in Sierra Leone. The Ivorian FA said on Tuesday that it was in talks with partners to move the game to a neutral and secure venue. The team then meets Cameroon on September the 10th on Group D's second match day.
Quand un coach démarre une aventure,
when a coach starts a new adventure and has to deal with old players, the question must, however, also be raised as to whether he should continue with the same players or he should bring in fresh talent with the hope to have one who can keep up with the former stars. As a team manager, it is important to make choices, take responsibilities and assume them. The substitute players for the AFCON 2015 are 18, and those for the FIFA World Qualification are 23. It is not my custom to substitute players who have great international experience and who may play many games in their clubs. That is the way it works.
Coupe d'Afrique des Nations, c'est 18 ou éliminatoire, Coupe du Monde 23.
The latest news update that we've received says the Sierra Leone FA that is coming to Cote d'Ivoire for the match has given us an assurance that the delegation will comprise of people who are not resident of Sierra Leone. With this information, we will meet the authorities and the Confederation of African Football to see what can be done. But to date, I can confirm that the match cannot be played in Abidjan.
Approcher et le gouvernement et la CAF, nous allons essayer de voir tout est bien. Mais à ce jour,
all right, now one of Egypt's top football clubs, Al Ahly, recently signed a contract with a Saudi sportswear company to both sponsor the team and launch a sportswear brand named Al Ahly Sports Club. As a result, Al Ahly becomes one of the first football teams to drop the top sportswear brands and turn out in their own. Adel El Mahrouki has more.
It's a dream deal for the Red Devils to take away logos of international sportswear brands from its team's t-shirt and put its name instead. Al Ahly is about to be the first football club in Egypt to have its sportswear line and have stores in the region to sell its merchandise.
Al Ahly Stores has an edge. Our fans and lovers had a problem. There were no affordable clothes for the club like you see in the European football games. All the fans were wearing were t-shirts of teams like Arsenal, Liverpool and Barcelona. This is a scene that we've been studying for long.
The old Adidas Al Ahly t-shirt costs about 500 Egyptian pounds, more than half a monthly salary of most Egyptians. The Saudi company that won the deal, Sporta, is expected to make the price pocket-friendly.
We are very proud to cooperate with Al Ahly. It is the most title-winning team in the world. It has loyal fans and we want to serve those fans with our sponsorship contract with Al Ahly.
Sporta wanted to win the deal by all means. It paid $350,000 upfront in cash to the club and promised a $550,000 worth of clothing a year with a 10% annual increment. The Red Devils will also get 10% of the sales revenue of their new brand. But that's not all. Sporta will also reward the team financially should they win any title, which can add up to $660,000. With these developments, the club is excited. As for the fans, the excitement will sink in once they can afford to buy the original Al Ahly jersey. Adel Mahroui, CCTV, Cairo.
The body of slain Cameroonian footballer Albert Ebosse arrived in his home country on Thursday, accompanied by a delegation from his Algerian club JS Kabylie. Ebosse was killed by an object thrown from the stands while he was in action last weekend. It appeared that the object was hurled by his team's supporters after a 2-1 loss. A ceremony was organized at the Algiers airport, attended by Algerian Sports Minister Mohamed Tahmi and friends and family of the player. Kabylie have since been banned from using their stadium pending investigations into the incident. The Confederation of African Football have backed measures taken by Algerian authorities to stop the side from playing at the November the 1st stadium in the city of Tizi Ouzou. All matches in Algeria have also been postponed this weekend as a result of the incident. Well, as investigations open into Ebosse's death, fans and colleagues around the continent continue to condemn the incident. Many called for swift changes to security in African football. Maria Galang has more.
Albert Ebosse's death and the circumstances in which it happened have stunned the African football world. Addressing the incident, CAF President Issa Hayatou was strong in his condemnation of all violence in African football, saying, My thoughts go out to the family and friends of this young man who enjoyed his job peacefully and went further to pursue his passion for football abroad. African football cannot be the breeding ground for hooliganism whatsoever. African fans took to social media to comment on the incident, some insisting that security is key to ensuring players are safe on the pitch, others calling for strict consequences. Striker Ebosse was the top scorer in the Algerian top flight last season, scoring 17 goals. Maria Galang, CCTV.
All right, let's go to another break, but when we come back...
So it's going to be a good hard fight for me.
Boxer Heki Budler ready to defend his 2 belts in Monte Carlo.
Sports Scene, the heart and soul of sport.
Welcome back, you're watching Matchpoint. To boxing, and South Africa's Heki Budler put his 2 world title belts on the line in Monaco when he goes up against China's Xiao Zhangzhong in Monte Carlo. Budler admits the fight will provide a stern test, but he's confident that he can pull through and that would keep his hopes alive of achieving something very special indeed and unifying the strawweight division. Dan Williams has more.
He's pound for pound South Africa's top boxer, holds 2 world title belts and is now beginning to receive the kind of recognition that achievement deserves. Next up for Heki Budler, the WBA and IBO strawweight champion, is a defence in Monaco against China's Xiong Zhaojiang, a former world champion himself. It promises to be some clash.
It's definitely going to be a hard, tough fight. I've seen a few of his fights. He's definitely a very strong and good fighter. When he lost the WBC, he fought against a very good Mexican fighter, strong fighter. Zhang was not at his best that night and he lost, but that happens with a lot of fighters. But I think after that loss, because after I lost my first world title, I came back stronger and better than I ever was. So I think maybe this is the same for him, so it's going to be a good, hard fight for me.
Zhang and Budler were set to go head-to-head a year ago, but for one reason or another, the fight failed to materialise. Now that Budler is the one holding the belts, he's determined to keep them, and there is a sense of unfinished business in the executioner camp.
Well, you've got an ex-champion looking to re-establish himself, who wants to be a champion again, and you've got a current champion who is widely regarded as the best mini flyweight on the planet. You know, and I'll be honest with you, I think Heki's going to punish this guy. That's honestly what I've seen. I think Zhang's a good fighter. He's a competent fighter. He hits pretty hard. He's got a lot of experience. But there's going to be only one win on the 25th of October, and that's Heki. Heki's going to show the world that he's the best mini flyweight in the world.
Well, if all goes according to plan, then Budler hopes to then be given the chance to unify the strawweight division by taking on Francisco Rodriguez of Mexico. And both he and his coach are confident of making that dream a reality.
Most websites and most magazines have Heki as the best mini flyweight in the world, #1. There are others who feel that, you know, Rodriguez, who's now the IBF WBO champion, is also partially could be the #1 guy. So naturally, we want that fight to happen, so there can be no dispute.
To unite a boxing division would be no small achievement, and if successful, it would further cement Budler's place in South Africa's Boxing Hall of Fame.
Every fighter that gets into the ring wants to be known after he retires. Every time I get into the ring, that I want to be better. Like I said, I want to be better, I want to improve, and I want to prove that I am the best every time I step into the ring.
But first comes that date against Xiong. Budler may have various options now, but he knows better than most that defeat in October would see his boxing world come crashing down. Dan Williams, CCTV, Johannesburg.
Right, let's check in with football further afield. Louis van Gaal warned Manchester United fans against regarding Angel Di Maria as the miracle when the Argentine was unveiled as United's new number 7 on Thursday. Di Maria signed from Real Madrid this week for a British record £59.7 million. Van Gaal and United need a reversal of fortunes after a wretched start to the season. They have picked up 1 point from the opening 2 Premier League games, and to the amusement of some and the surprise of many, were humbled 4-0 by third-tier MK Dons in the League Cup this week.
We cannot expect, after 2 days training session, that he is the miracle, what I have already read. No, you have to work for the miracle, and he knows that.
Bueno, la verdad que venir a Manchester United.
To come to Manchester United was a child's dream. I had a lot of desire to come here, even knowing that we were not in the Champions League. I wanted to come and help the team, and have to thank Van Gaal for that, and everybody in the club who trusted me. So I'm very happy to be here, and I will do my best. Come next year, we will be back in the Champions League.
Estoy muy contento de estar aquí y bueno.
Well, Cristiano Ronaldo, whose extra-time penalty put the seal on Real Madrid's 4-1 Champions League final victory over Atletico Madrid in May, expressed his joy after being named UEFA's best player in Europe on Thursday. Ronaldo scored 17 goals in all as Real won the title for the 10th time. The Portuguese was presented with the award in Monte Carlo by UEFA President Michel Platini at the end of the draw for this season's Champions League. He won ahead of Bayern Munich's Arjen Robben and Manuel Neuer in a live vote by a panel of 54 journalists at the UEFA Champions League draw.
To be honest, I was quite confident that I would win, looking at the fact that we were winning collectively in the Champions League, the Cup, the Super Cup, and I scored in all these competitions. So because of this, I was positive. But until you hear your name, it's complicated, and you keep expecting. But thank God it all went well, the journalists voted well, and it was spectacular for me.
All right, well, that's it for this edition of Matchpoint. Remember, you can send your feedback to us. Matchpoint@cctv.com is our email address. You can visit our Facebook page, CCTV Africa, or stay in touch on Twitter using the handle @CCTV News Africa. Thanks for watching once again. We leave you now with the images of the sporting highlights from the past week.
Cristiano Ronaldo.